regulation is anything that helps government or the society in general to keep a check on business. I don't know if the regulation should be more or less. I guess somewhere a balance should be, maintained, and I think that is what will help society, business, and everyone.
Hi. I wanted to ask you about regulation in the environmental sector. Do you think there should be more regulation there, or should it be liberalized? It shouldn't be liberalized. I believe that it has to be regulated. And by regulation, we also should, in addition to punishing who are, violating environmental norms, we also should introduce incentive schemes for people who actually come up with innovations that can, reduce pollution in their emissions and so on and so forth.
In 1998, Citicorp and Travelers merged to form Citigroup, the largest financial services company in the world. The merger violated the Glass-Steagall Act, a law passed after the Great Depression, which prevented banks with consumer deposits from engaging in risky investment banking activities. In 1999, at the urging of Summers and Rubin, Congress passed the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act, known to some as the Citigroup Relief Act. It overturned Glass-Steagall and cleared the way for future mergers.
It's not always true. If you look at regulation, the flip side is it might be bad in a global sense, but if you look when the recession hit in India, the banking industry being highly regulated within India survived it because our requirements for cash and liquidity were so high. It's not always bad. I think it depends on the context in which you're talking. By and large, it's always to benefit someone, but unfortunately, it's a very selfish kind of ambition that, I want to protect my side or my country or my need. You cannot always cater to everybody.
Beginning in the 1990s, deregulation and advances in technology led to an explosion of complex financial products called derivatives. Economists and bankers claimed they made markets safer, but instead, they made them unstable.
The title of the paper was essentially, "Is financial development making the world riskier?" And the conclusion was, it is. Summers was vocal. He basically thought that I was criticizing the change in the financial world and was worried about, regulation which would reverse this whole change. So essentially he accused me of being a Luddite. He wanted to make sure that we didn't bring in a whole new set of regulations to constrain the financial sector at that point.
The Bush administration sharply reduced taxes on investment gains, stock dividends, and eliminated the estate.
As the middle class falls further and further behind, there is a political urge to respond by making it easier to get credit.
You don't have to have a lousy home. The low-income home buyer can have just as nice a house as anybody else.
The vast majority I've seen lately, unfortunately, are people who've just been hurt by the economy. They were living, day to day, paycheck to paycheck, and unfortunately that ran out. And unemployment isn't going to pay a house or mortgages.
And as U.S. consumers cut back on spending, Chinese manufacturers see sales plummet. Over 10 million migrant workers in China lose their jobs.
Some factories try to cut off some workers. And some people get poor because they lose their job. The lives get harder.
Portugal's relaxed drug laws mean that marijuana smokers like Nunu can light up without fear of arrest. Portugal's controversial decriminalisation law, which took effect in 2001, was born of desperation.
At the beginning of the 90s, we had 100,000 people hooked on heroin. 2 generations were killed by drugs.
Frustrated by a system which treated drug users as criminals and not as addicts needing treatment, Dr. Goulao has been the public face of the decriminalisation policy since its beginning.
Now I can say that drug addiction, problematic drug use, has decreased.
Aproveitam, podem dar com aquela quantidade mínima que os consumidores podem dar, aproveitam isso para andarem com essa quantidade, para que se forem abordados pela polícia, não, eu sou consumidor, eu consumo, esta é e eles sabem.
So after 10 years, has the Portuguese policy been a success?
Evaluating a drug law can be as complicated as you want to make it. The Portuguese system, if it works for them, they're very happy. Objectively evaluating it, you can do many different evaluations, and depending on what you put into the evaluation, you will come to different conclusions.
Today, 73.5% of the entire youth population of Punjab is addicted to drugs.
The State Health Department reveals that every 3rd male and 10th female student has consumed drugs at least once, which is smuggled into India through the 553-kilometer-long international border shared with Pakistan. Namho, a woman in her late 50s, understands well the plight of losing loved ones. Out of 7 children, she lost 6 of them due to drug addiction.
पुलिस ने देख लिया तो छाड़ देता उन्होंने इन्हां नूं मारना टोली आ मार के आपदे पेटे थोड़ी पाउणा नशे वाले नूं कदों मार दिया.
Over the last few years, the extent of punishment for this increasing commercial drug peddling has often been questioned.
The Indian legislation makes a difference between drug use for personal use. If it is for commercial use, it can be up to 20 years.
What is regulation according to you?
Regulation is taking away rights from the citizens. But you take the case of drug abuse, wherein in India we have a system wherein it's all illegal. But when you go to Europe, you'll find countries like Portugal and Netherlands, where it is, for a certain quantity, it's legal. The thing is, you go to the black market and you get adulterated drugs. So the government is putting in this regulation to actually look at better the health of the people.
Meanwhile, a similar debate rages across the world over whether legalizing prostitution is a way to bring down human trafficking.
One can see the divergence in this map of Europe, where the countries marked in green and blue legalize or regulate prostitution.
After drugs, humans are the second most trafficked item in the world.
A trabajar limpiando casas para un hombre. Él me iba a pagar $10 la hora. Estamos desesperados, así que yo vine. El primer día en los Estados Unidos, él me compró ropa y me dijo que tenía que acostarme con unos hombres. Fueron 25 hombres al día.
Prostitution may be the oldest profession in the world, but the rights and restrictions of sex workers has always been a contentious and hotly debated issue, not just in India, but all over the world. Now here in India, the government has proposed a set of changes to the law that actually legislates the trade. It is a contentious and hotly debated set of changes. Some of the changes include the fact that soliciting clients will no longer be a crime if this proposed bill is actually approved. Magistrates can no longer evict sex workers from their premises. But, and here's a controversial change, clients of sex workers can now be punished under the proposed new law.
similar debates rage across the world with regards to issues like environment, religious freedom, gun control, discipline in schools, etc. Regulation in these fields can often be a paradox. The general viewpoint, however, converges upon maintaining a balance. Where that balance lies is a matter of contention.